Bernie Sanders and Bill Maher had a conversation about selling the concept of socialism to the American people. Let's take a look.
We have to teach Americans what this is.
We do.
And I don't know if we're doing that yet.
Okay.
I don't think most Americans realize they're already socialists.
In certain respects. Okay. Let's start off with what it is not what we want to change. We want to deal with the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality in America. Very few people think it is acceptable or moral that the top 1/10 of 1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. That we have seen a proliferate.
But see, Bernie, you always say that, and I think even the Republicans are not for income inequality. They hear that, but it doesn't compute that that's going to be solved by socialism. Socialism is the programs they already like. They like Social Security. That's socialism. But they like Medicare. They like the VA. They like the military.
No, that's exactly right.
It's already a socialist country.
But what we have to, no, it's not a socialist country.
It's quasi.
Quasi. There are some socialist programs. But what we have got to do is remind fellow Americans that every other major country on earth guarantees health care to all people as a right, and they do it more cost effectively than we do. We have got to inform the American people that we are the only major country on earth that doesn't guarantee paid family and medical leave. We have got to remind the American people that there's something a little bit crazy when in America we have more people in jail, disproportionately people of color, than any other major country on earth.
All right. But I don't know if we're still undemonizing this word socialism. This is my big thing tonight, to get you to undemonize this word, because, you know, they do polls on who people would vote for. Like, would people vote for a woman, a Jew, a black? Those are in like the low 90s, like 92, 91% of the people. And of course, the other 8%, I think we know who those people are. You won't be getting their vote. Then like 75% of Americans would now vote for a gay person. That's a big change from 10 years ago.
Yep.
60% would vote for a Muslim. 58% would vote for an atheist. Socialist, 47. It's at the very bottom of the barrel. They hear socialist, they think herpes, Bernie. We have to get this.
But then what we do is we have to make the movement, if you like, to correlate what we're talking about. Because on every one of the major issues I am talking about, the American people agree.
So I actually really, really like Bill Maher's strategy there. Because when you ask Bernie Sanders what he means by socialism or democratic socialism, as he did in the debate, he almost immediately goes to income inequality, which obviously is a huge thing. As Maher said, people are against it even if they're Republicans, so it makes sense to a certain extent to respond like that. But I also think Maher is right when he says people don't make that connection, though, in their mind. When you're asked about socialism or democratic socialism and you jump to, well, the problem is the top 1% make X amount of the money, and you go on and on. It's like people are going, I agree with that, but they don't know that that's kind of in response to the question. They think, if anything, that might be a slight sidestep of the question, and you're just going on about the issues you care about. What Maher is saying is, instead of answering it like that, your answer should be really direct, really straightforward, and, you know, something that everybody would agree with and like, where you say, we're already to a certain extent a socialist country. Do you like Social Security? Do you like Medicare? Do you like Medicaid? Do you like having nice paved roads? Do you like clean drinking water? Do you like the military, which protects you? Do you like, you go down a list of the different things, and then at the end of it, it has to be the case that even Republicans are like, I do like the military. That's sure good. And you have to make people go, oh, okay, so that's what it's not some sort of revolutionary thing. And in the debate at one point, the irrelevant Jim Webb actually said to Bernie Sanders, I love my friend Bernie, but I don't think the revolution is coming. And really the response to that is, he doesn't want a fucking revolution. He just wants to make the country better issue for issue, issue by issue. And like Bernie said at the end there, on the actual issues themselves, Bernie Sanders agrees more with the American people than any other candidate. And that's not an opinion, that's a fact. So, I like what Bernie has to say, of course, and he's very heavy in the substance, and he's a policy wonk, which is good. But I like that Maher is kind of trying to bridge the gap there, where he wants to make it so there's zero interpretation that's involved with the people listening. So when he says, hey, I believe in democratic socialism, and people ask you, what is that? You go, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Every program you like. And then people go, oh, okay, great. So where would we expand that to? And then you describe universal health care, universal education, universal child care, stuff like that, which Bernie has alluded to before. More paid vacation by law. We're one of the only modern countries on earth that does not have that right now. So the other thing I would add to that, though, is, so Maher's right on the marketing of it. And Maher's one of the few people on the left who, for a very long time, he's been great on the marketing of liberal ideas. The Democratic Party sucks balls, and they're weak, and they're too far right-wing, and they're corporatist. But Maher, for the longest time, has been screaming at them, use facts and double down and frame it this way, and he's usually right when he talks about it. But I would add that Bernie should also say, well, I'm not just a socialist, as he has in the past, but I believe in a hybrid system. So when you're asked, why don't you believe in capitalism, you should immediately say, no, I believe in a hybrid system, and the other part of that is capitalism. So when he was pushed in the debate, he went on to clarify. And he said, when Hillary was like, I believe in small business and entrepreneurship, that's what this country is based off of. Bernie was like, well, of course I believe in that too. But what I'm saying to Bernie is, I don't like the fact that you have to wait to clarify on it when somebody pushes you, because you gave Hillary a win in that back and forth, because Hillary was the one who looked like she's standing up for the American dream and the greatest economy ever. And even though it's a fact-free, stupid rant, people hear that, they go, okay, I see that. That's not a radical change, but it's a little bit of a change. I want to go with that. No, you have to say up front, I believe in a hybrid system that includes capitalism. I love small business. I love medium-sized business, as Bernie went on to clarify in the debate. But focus on that a little bit more up front, so people don't get that taste in their mouth like, oh my God, the Soviet Union, Cuba, yada yada. Now, again, Bernie hasn't had that negative connotation that people take away from him when he talks, but I'm afraid that the closer we get to a general, the more the attacks will ramp up on him, and the more he can be misperceived as that. And people can, present him in a way where they highlight the negatives and they focus on, the terms and the definitions, and that could be something that scares people away. Obviously, I don't agree that it should scare them away, but he can be smeared enough where they'll scare people away. So what I'm saying is, kneecap that shit. Kneecap it right now, and I think that's what Maher's getting at too. When Maher says, this is how you respond when people say, oh, you're a democratic socialist or a socialist. You should, in essence, say, so are you, and here's why, and it's a fact. So an interesting conversation. Now, Bernie Sanders also said he's going to come out now and do some kind of a speech on the principles of democratic socialism, and he called it a big speech. So we'll see how much of this he took away from it, how much he agrees with Maher, how much he agrees with people telling him to frame it slightly differently. But either way, I hope the message gets through, because it is certainly true that Bernie Sanders represents what the American people want much more.